From the studios of Foxboro Cable Access, located in the center of Foxborough, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxborough.
Hi, I'm your host, Tim Green, and welcome to Around Foxborough. Tonight we have with us Stephanie and Marilia from Family Promise Metro West. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Can you guys tell us maybe a little about your background and how you came to be involved with Family Promise Metro West?
Yeah, sure. So I went to school for social work. I have my master's and I am a licensed clinician as well. I became involved with Family Promise 7 years ago as a caseworker, and then now I am a director of programs. So it's just working in the field. I worked in the shelter systems, the EA systems, through a very well-known nonprofit. And so once I've seen the job description, it was very similar to what I was doing. I decided to just go for it.
And how long have you worked there?
The former position?
No, but at Family Planning Metro.
7 years.
7 years, okay.
Yeah.
How about you?
I came into Family Promise through a program which is called Case Management Accelerated Program.
Okay.
And through that, I was able to meet Stephanie and learn a little bit more about Family Promise, and I applied for the position, and I've been there for like
You're here now.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you guys do exactly as family support specialists? What does that role entail?
So for us, I'm part of the LIFE program, which is it's the local initiative.
A family empowerment.
Okay.
Yes, and through that, we help with families with prevention and diversion, and, which entails like if they have rental arrears, we help them with that, and then we work with landlords. It's like a wraparound services that we provide. We work with landlords, letting them know like we will be working with the family, with budgeting, education, any other goals that they will have in mind, as long as they're able to stay in that unit, and we'll help them maintain the rent moving forward. And with diversion is we just help them with the moving cost, which is either first month security deposit or even
Like truck rentals and things like that.
Okay.
So diversion is just diverting them from coming into our shelter program. So
Okay.
we'll just pay a security deposit or help them move with a family member, things like that, whatever it takes so they don't come into our shelter program.
Gotcha. Do families, how would they go about qualifying for assistance like that?
So for us, we have an intake line. So they would call our intakes, someone would answer, ask them a few questions, and then based on what they're looking for, we will put them in that program. So if it's for life, we would have them fill out our interview packet, and they'll just go over, we look at their monthly expenses and what they bring home. And so that will like let us know if we do help them, will they be able to maintain their rent moving forward? If not, how can we help them, assist them in finding ways so they can pay their rent?
Okay. And what areas do you guys cover specifically? I know we had talked about it a little bit off camera, but maybe for people that were looking for that.
We cover mostly Metro West area, but we have noticed that there are needs like further out towards like Foxborough, Plainville. We have had families reach out to us seeking assistance, and we are trying to help them as well.
Yeah, and then we'll go up north to like Waltham, Lexington area, and then around Marlborough, Hudson. So it's pretty wide for our life program. We extended it since the pandemic. So our catchment area is very broad. With our shelter program, we'll accept anyone that is homeless and that is in need of housing. So we don't have a catchment area for our shelter program.
Okay. Did you see a lot of homelessness after the pandemic? Was there, yeah?
Yes. A lot of families, because of the moratorium, I guess with the miscommunication, they felt that they didn't have to pay their rent. So the balances definitely skyrocketed. And once that was lifted, eviction notices were being sent out left and right, and they had these high balances that they couldn't afford. So thankfully for our program, we don't require a 14-day notice. So if someone knows that they're gonna be behind, they can reach out to us and we can support them before. So that's preventing them from experiencing that trauma of eviction and going to court and all of that other legal fees and stuff like that.
Okay. And then beyond maybe some financial assistance, what are some of the other things that the LIFE program provides?
We also offer one-on-one where we meet with them once a month, and we just go over the goals. We have about 7 goals, I believe. And it's housing, finance, transportation, school, or work. And pretty much, and then depending on where then we meet with them once a month, and then we go over those goals with them. see how they're doing, how we can help, what services or resources we can provide for them in order to succeed.
Okay.
In addition to that, we also offer financial literacy classes and keys to good tenancy. So just teaching them how to be a good tenant, knowing their rights when they're living in their own apartment and things like that.
Okay. How have you seen housing instability affect maybe some of the children that come to the program?
I can speak specifically for shelter. So we do see a lot of regression in behaviors. They'll start bedwetting and things like that just because of the loss and the trauma that they experience. With life, we don't see as many behaviors because we're preventing them from coming into shelter, so they're stabilized in their home.
Okay, gotcha. What kind of, maybe some of the misconceptions maybe people might have about homelessness?
I would definitely say they think it's that person that either has substance use or are frivolously spending, and that person that's holding the sign on the side of the street. It honestly can happen to any one of us. It could happen to me. It could happen to any of my colleagues. It's a real thing, and just the way that the market with rents are rising so quickly and the income is not meeting that, it's so easy to fall behind with your expenses and anything, honestly, because utilities and stuff are now even higher, and groceries and everything else in the economy.
Right, right. How do you think local business maybe can support your program?
You want to take it?
Sure.
You guys can both answer too.
I definitely think in-kind donations, if possible. If there's any gift certificates that they're willing to offer, just support, putting the word out, hanging our flyers up. So if there's anyone, a consumer that's out there that is struggling, if they see the flyer, they can reach out to us discreetly. They don't have to, go through people to get the services, but be able to access us on their own.
Okay.
So hanging out flyers, if there's any in-kind donations, we're always looking for things like that.
Okay. So like you said, donations and is food like that goes into kind of things as well, or okay,
yeah.
All right.
And volunteer. We're always looking for volunteers.
Yeah.
So if they are an independent business owner and they know how to run a business, that's if they want to come in and mentor someone that maybe wants to run their own business one day, things like that. Or just supporting us with making baskets and stuff like that we need for the families around Thanksgiving and the holidays.
Okay. And where would they go to do that?
All of that is through our 6 Mulligan address in Natick. So they can reach out to our volunteer coordinator and they can connect with them and rearrange a time.
Okay. Do you have any success stories maybe that have had, or some impactful moments you guys are willing to share?
You gotta
I gotta think you guys both have.
Yeah. So for me, it's been a while since I've worked directly with the families, but more recently, 2 years ago, I think now, I had a family that came into shelter. I was working with him at the time when I was a case manager. We supported him with his goals. He then transitioned into his own apartment. At the time, he was in school to get his bachelor's in biomedical. And so he ended up finishing his school when he was in our SAIL program, which is our transitional living program. That's the step up after shelter. So we were supporting him with his rent. He graduated with his bachelor's, got a great job. Then we were able to find a lottery opportunity to become a homeowner in Natick. Wow. So he won the lottery, which was amazing. There were 2 people before him. He was number 3, but because the interest rates rose, they were no longer qualified. So he was the next person in line.
Wow.
And he was able to close on his house and become a homeowner and change that generational cycle of homelessness within his family.
Wow, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. How about you?
I would say recently we just had a family reached out to us from the EEA shelter, and so they were looking to move. We have this program called South, Family Promise South, and it's a new program that we have. And so the family had came in, they seemed like they were distressed and they didn't want to move from one situation to another. And so we were like, we have this program called TBRA, which is tenant-based rental assistance. And so we were able to have them apply for that. And then we secure an apartment for this person. And now they're going to be able to get their own place.
Get their own place, right?
Yes.
Did you see a lot of that? It's just trying to take them from one step, like you said, so if you would just explain to me a little bit more about the steps that you guys have in the program.
So the steps, it's really client focused. So the clients will come in, we'll do the intake. Once they're eligible, we then decide, like, what are your goals? If you had a magic wand and you had all the support that you needed and there was no barriers, what would you want to accomplish? And we let them tell us what they want to accomplish. So from there, we do an action plan, and that's where everything is lined out, like all the goals that they want to do. Each week, they'll meet with the family coach, and then they go over the action steps, what you have to do. Like, let's say if it's getting your license, taking the test, studying X amount of times a week, so we have it very tangible so they know exactly what they're working on.
Okay.
And then they achieve the goals. So our main job is just to provide the resources and support, but the clients are the ones that's driving all the work, and they do an amazing job with it.
Okay. And then you have people like you that work with these people to try and push them to achieve these goals.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. What do you think are some of the biggest needs for Family Promise Metro West at the moment?
Cars.
Cars. You guys need cars.
Cars.
You do some cars.
A lot of our families, we have a good partnership with Charitable Cars. And so they will donate a car where the family has to register everything, but they don't have the monthly payment, and they're great cars. Usually it has gone through an accident and they refurbish it and
they donate it to...
And they donate it,
Okay.
yeah, at no cost to the family. So those have been really good opportunities. A lot of families come into our programs with cars, but they're not in the best shape, so they end up breaking down, and they have high mechanic costs and things like that. So cars would be a good one. Affordable housing would be amazing, of course. Right. Anything you can think of?
Definitely. So you said, maybe more of a community help.
Okay.
Where they're not just doing it on their own, but they know that there's resources in their town that could help them in time of need.
And not just working with you guys.
Exactly, and knowing where to go and how to go about it, even if it's coming through us, but we know where the resources are and who to reach out to.
Okay. Is there another maybe nonprofit maybe that you guys want to plug, like that you work with pretty consistently?
We work well with Natick Service Council. They're also in Natick. We work with, what else? There's so many. SMOC is a big one as well.
What are they?
So they're just a community resource. So they do everything. They have utility assistance. They have housing. They run the EA shelters in our area.
Okay.
They're mental health. They have everything. It's just like a one-stop shop. But they're very big, so they don't have that really personal relationship because of just capacity.
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay. So those would be some of the programs maybe people could reach out to as well.
For sure.
Along with working with you guys.
For sure.
And where can people find you guys? Is there a website? Is there, obviously you had mentioned the office in Natick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're all over social media, Instagram and Facebook, and then we do also have a website. So if you just Google Family Promise Metro West, everything will come up, our social media, and then our website, and then of course just coming by in person. We're always there.
Okay. I would think you guys are there pretty much every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's one thing maybe that you wanted somebody that's watching this maybe to take away from, what would that be?
It would be to the stigma of like being homeless and not just assume you know that person is homeless because of, as you explained earlier, substance abuse or mental health. There's a lot more to it, and that just because they're homeless doesn't mean they're lazy. That whole perception about them being lazy, that's not always the case. Like we said, the cost of living, you know, it's like groceries, everything. It's just, we're all one paycheck away from being homeless. So that whole mindset we just need to learn a little bit more before just judging someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a little more compassionate maybe.
Yes, exactly.
How about you? Is there anything?
I piggyback off of that, just educating yourself on the population, on what's going on, and just really trying to be in tune with the economy and how quickly things are happening. Things are changing by the day. It's not the same as 5 years, 3 years, even 2 months ago. So we just always have to be in tune with that and ask questions. If you don't understand it, instead of passing judgment, ask questions and try to learn.
Okay. That's great advice. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
Again, I'm your host, Tim Green, and thank you so much for watching Around Foxborough. You can see all of our other content at fcatv.org. Thank you so much.